Hey, it's Terry with Something Spooky. I'm going to be reading you one of my original stories today. This is from my brand new book, Stories of the End, which you can get on Amazon now in paperback. And if you're watching this today, Sunday, March 28th, it's a free download too for the digital edition. So check that out. The link's in the post. But this story is called The Smoky Mountain Monster. The Smoky Mountains, full of shadowed silence and untouched grandeur, hummed with stories and legends. There was a little log cabin in the woods that was said to have belonged to Davy Crockett. At night, a deep mist would form over the leaf magenta grounds, but no one was ever there to see it. A big rock rose like a monolith from a dirt patch where nothing else had grown for a long time. No one ever saw it. A volcano could have splintered from the ground and molten the forest while turning the sky to ash, and it would be days before someone drove by an adjacent road and noticed. There was no one back here. The world had moved on and left this little stretch of existence to stagnate and freeze in time, with nothing to disrupt its trajectory. It slumbered. So it sat for decades, time unfolding with countless change all through the world. Yet these few acres of country stayed oblivious. Technology pushed, leaders grew and died, empires boomed and collapsed, but the few miles of trees around Limestone in southeast Tennessee rested in tranquility without any concern for what was happening beyond the borders. Felt at ease with its place in the world, a soft, warm blanket for those who knew it. This seemed destined to continue until suddenly it didn't. Some ambitious men decided to expand the real estate market further from the nearby market center. In less than a year, something that had been the same for lifetimes, secluded and undisturbed, was abruptly and violently uprooted, dug, plowed, shoveled, ripped, paved, molded, and shaped to be an entirely new area of the world fit for civilization and pleasant circumstances. The land did not agree and moaned its disapproval. Families moved in fast, and it wasn't long before the surrounding area was filled with gas stations and school buildings and soccer fields and fast food establishments. Year after year marched forward, and before long the place the area had been for so long was forgotten, washed away in a tide of habitation. The development was a success, but the earth did not reserve its protest. The land grew haunted, wrecked by spirits and atrocities. Nothing else was allowed to inhabit this space. The very fiber of existence twisted in repulsion at its new form. There was something that revolted against what destiny was dictating. The new orchestra of everyday life, with all of its humanity and confinement, chafed against the fiber of all that had come before. It was calm at first, residential troubles and local folklore. There was a haunted house or a vengeful spirit. An entire barn of animals all perished overnight with no discernible cause. Some thought the lake was cursed. A family of 5 died in a fiery car crash on an unmarked road. A deranged man from a nearby slaughterhouse assaulted an elderly woman in her home. There was something damned in the space itself, and it would endlessly produce whatever menace fit the void. Generations disappeared down the family conveyor belt, and the daily troubles of the place turned to Twilight. Rumors of a ritualistic cult rooted in the community took hold. A flesh-eater preyed on the town. Some unknown beast, described in wild testimonies and interviews as a horned slug the size of a dog, turned the area into a tourist spot. The 21st century had begun to wane when the fissure finally erupted. A great mass swelled in the land. Bony, titanic shoulders lifted the earth into an illusion of mountains where there had been none. In the very spot where Davy Crockett's log cabin had sat, the ground split and a tremor propelled through the surrounding countryside. A creature unlike anything ever rose to the sky, carrying the homes and barns and utility poles up to the clouds. All of that cursed land was swept up in an instant and crumbled to pieces on the back of the mile-high gargantuan. It fell back to the land and crashed like haunted meteorites crating in the surface. The mammoth could not be. Its presence stained and contaminated the dimension of humanity. No reason or spirituality could support its nature. The thing was an intruder that trekked its cosmic mud across the carpet of conceived existence. The impossible monstrosity evaporated to space in a fantastic fog. Time and gravity warped around it in a spectacular display of color that broadcast against the Smoky Mountain landscape. Geography twisted on itself in impossible spirals. Deep recesses swallowed rolling mounds. The seams of reality frayed and stretched as the entity joined the stars. The monster was never there, it couldn't be. Everyone already remembered the Tennessee canyons as all the land had ever been. Hope you enjoyed. That is The Smoky Mountain Monster from Stories of the End. You can get the book on Amazon in paperback or digital, and if you want to hear more stories or read them, they are on the page Something Spooky. Thanks.